Hello everyone, my name's Vicky Jenkins. I'm from Turn It On. I'm I was a class teacher. I now teach computing in a number of our schools, and I also go in and train teachers either with the curriculum or with various bits of software. Okay, so today we are going to be using Google Classroom. You can use the Google devices across any platform. So you can use it on tablets, on mobile devices, and on laptops and things. Okay, so we are going to go across to Classroom. Before I go on there, I just want to draw attention. Some of you have seen this on some of my other webinars. Teachfromanywhere.google. It has got loads of little tutorials. So mainly in the bit for teachers. They're really short tutorials, so just if you've forgotten something, it's quite useful. Pop in to have a little look there. So I'm going to put that in the chat for you. Okay, and that will take you to the correct place. Okay, so Google Classroom, you can get here using classroom.google.com. You can also choose the 9 dots and scroll down and you will find it there. You can rearrange these apps by dragging and dropping, the same as you do with other sort of file structures, so to have your favorites at the top. Okay, when you come to classroom.google, you will see you will have your classes. So set up with the DfE, you will have your class. You may have additional classes, or you may choose to set up additional classes at a later point once you've become more familiar with it. So I'm going to go into my classroom, and as you come in, you first are greeted by your stream. Okay, so your stream is sort of like your news feed for social, sort of on social media. It's that sort of thing. So you've got the name of your class, and then you've got this bit here that mine for some reason is knitting needles. You can change the theme. You can also upload a picture, so you can choose what goes here. You have a class code. That class code, if you weren't set up through the DfE, you might use that class code to have the class used to join the classroom. So if you are setting up an additional classroom, that's a way you can have the pupils join. It gives you a code and they can type it in. This is the link for if pupils were to join a Google Meet. Just check nobody's asking questions. So to join a Google Meet, I've got that hidden for my class. You'd only show it if you were wanting your class to see it. Okay, so this box here is your upcoming work. And then down below is all the different assignments that you've set, all in date order. Okay, so you can put here, you can share something with your class. So you can set it here for just one class, or you can set it for both classes. So you might just write a note, please tell me a fact about Queen Victoria. Okay. You could then add here, you could add a link, something from your Google Drive, so a web link, a file, or a YouTube video. And here you can choose whether you post it now, whether you schedule it, or whether you save it as a draft. So I'm just going to post it. Okay, and that's a basic sort of hello on your page. So you might do that if you were having your class use these every day, maybe as early morning work or something. So that's your stream. That's sort of the home page. There's settings up here as well, which you can change. So you can decide if you want an invite link or code, whether you want an invite link. So there's your code in link. Whether you want the class code visible. You can also choose that with the Google Meet thing here as well. You've also got here your stream. So you can choose whether you want students to be able to post and comment, whether you want students to only be able to comment or whether you don't want them to be able to do either and only teachers can. Now, I tend to allow them to be able to comment underneath my post, but I don't tend to allow them to create their own posts. It's normally down to each school's own decision, but can you imagine if 30 people are posting every time you write something on your board? It's not very easy. I apologise, I'm just going to shut this window because it's going to get very noisy. There we go. Okay, so you can choose here, you can post and comment or only comment. It's down to your teaching. It's down to your teachers, your school, you know, your class. Sometimes you have a class that work really well with what they can share. Sometimes you have a class that is not very sensible and will bombard it. You can also decide, we'll test it out for 2 days and give them all rights and then see. And if they really mess around, then we will start restricting it. Okay, you can also show how much detail of your notifications can be seen. So whether you want the whole assignment shown or just a small notification or no notifications. But I'm not sure, I wouldn't want to just completely delete it. And again, you can change your settings here. You can add grade categories. You can change your grading systems. So we'll come on to grading a little bit later. Okay, so that's your settings. Just check nobody's answered any questions. Please feel free, if you do have questions, just pop them in that comment box. Okay, the next thing we're going to go into is classwork. Okay, so we have got topics, English, homework, English, computing, history. You can add topics. So I've just set those because they're the ones I've created assignments on, but you can set them as you wish. So to set all of these things, you can click create. So if you were to create a topic, what have we got? Let's do maths. You just do that and click add, and it comes down here. So now if I was to click computing, I would see all the things we've done with computing. If I was to click English, you'd see all the different English assignments. Okay, and if I do all topics, you see everything. Okay, topics is down to you. Some people get quite fixated on that, and I don't think you need to. It's just down to you how you're organising it. You might do it by subject. You might break it further. You might actually say, no, this, like my class this term are doing Building Britain. So I might have here a unit called Building Britain, and all work to do with that goes in there. It's down teacher preference. Right, so the things you can create for a classroom. You can click and create an assignment. Okay, so this would be creating a piece of work. Write a fact file about yourself. Okay, so you can tell what I've been doing today. So you can ask, say, that's my title. Oh, in fact, sorry, let's be my instructions. All about me. So write a fact file about yourself. Once you've put your instructions, you can go down here and you can add a Google Drive document, so a document you've already created, a web link, a file, so maybe a PDF or something, or a YouTube video. So in my school, we did a lot of videos during lockdown. We did all our lessons on YouTube. So at this point, I might start linking to my YouTube channel. So I can now, or I can click create a Google document. There we go. So there's my title, all about me. You could start to half fill this in, particularly if you were leveling this. So maybe if this was, if you were setting this, maybe if you're lowers, you might start giving them a bit of help in that respect. Okay, so I'm going to close that. There's my document, and I can choose here whether students can view the file, whether they can edit the file, or whether I want every a copy for every student. That hasn't seemed to. There we go. It has. Oh. It should change that to being named in a minute. So I'm going to choose make a copy for every student. Okay. What that will mean is every pupil will have a copy of that document come into their folder. Okay. And I can choose here whether I want it for one class, whether I want it for two classes. And down here, I can tick. So if you were going to do different leveled abilities, you might here where the documents are, you might make a copy for all, each student, but you might only select 10 pupils, and that would be your group. So you might assign this to them and then do a slightly different one for a different group. Okay. I'm going to say it's due for Friday. Okay, and my topic is English. Now, then you've got the option here of rubric. So you can create a rubric. All it is creating a score system. So we've been looking at proper nouns. So I'm going to give them 5 points if they can give me some proper nouns. I could add far more detail there. We've also been looking at capital letters. Okay, so this is really your step. We have steps to success. This is really what we're looking for. So again, I'm going to put 5 there. Okay. Obviously, you'd probably put a bit more in, but I'm going to save that. And so it's out of 10. So I'm going to put 10 there. Up here, then, you can choose, whether you assign it, whether you schedule it, or whether you save draft. So we're going to assign it. So it's just loading now. And if I go into my stream, there is my new assignment. Okay, so that's creating an assignment. You can also create a quiz assignment. All of these bits are exactly the same. The only difference is you can go into Google Forms and you can create a quiz. Google Forms is brilliant for this sort of thing. It's really great for a start of unit assessment to maybe see what they know so far, so that you know where to take your learning. It's also good at the end of a unit to see how much they've learned. It's also good for things like pupil surveys. So if you want to find out how many people walk to school and things like that. So it's a smart quiz. So the type of question you ask, it will know whether it should be multiple choice, whether it should be a short answer, a long answer. Okay, so I'm not going to save that one. I'm going to come back out. But these bits are all exactly the same. So again, you can assign it to a group or all students. Okay. The next one is you can ask a question. So this is great for a bit like a mental oral starter. You might ask a question. So you might ask a question here. Again, you can choose whether it's short answer or multiple choice. And you can just ask that question. Once you've asked a question, the pupils can answer really, really quickly. So if you did a multiple choice, you can put your options down here. I use these quite often, particularly at the beginning stages when we're first using Google Classroom. I use it to invite my class to find out a bit more about them, and it gives me an instant overview of who's managed to log in, who's using the correct login, and gives them a chance to become more familiar with Google Classroom. So I'm going to come out of here. Okay, so I quite often do fun things like what's your favourite type of chocolate, favourite sandwich filling, questions like that, favorite color that might get children talking a little bit. And those that are a bit slow to log in might, seeing their friends all logged in, they might be a bit speedier. Okay, the next option is material. Okay, so material is a bit like if you're starting a topic, or if for any reason you need to go, your school or your bubble has to go into any form of lockdown, you might put all the resources for a unit. So, for example, if you were doing the Great Fire of London, you might add documents you've created yourself. You might add some web links to really good websites. You might add some files, so that things like PDFs, photos, anything like that. Or you might, again, link to YouTube videos that you know. So this is basically giving them, it's sort of flipping the classroom, giving them the right to use, to do the research and to find out more. So it's not setting an actual assignment, this one, it's giving them all the resources, all the information they need to read about. And then you can reuse a post that you've already done. Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to flip over and show you. This is a pupil's login. Okay, so if I go into, so straight away, I've gone to classroom.google and I've logged in as the pupil already. And you can see there's my class, and already you can see due Friday, all about me. So I know I've got an up and coming assignment. Okay, so as I log in, I can see the teacher has told me, has said, please tell me a fact about Queen Victoria. So she married, oh, there is my answer. Okay, and also I can see straight away that there is an assignment, and I can see my steps to success. I apologise, my dog has just started going a bit crazy. You can see my steps to success. I've got proper nouns, capital letters and full stops. Okay, and then here I can turn it in. I can also here add or create. So if I need to, for example, if a child's handwritten their work, they can take a photo of it and they could load it as file, okay? Or they can put it in their Google Drive and load it that way. They can also create a new document, a PowerPoint, which is slides or sheets or a drawing. So they can add more work that way as well. They can also leave a message to the teacher, and then they can choose to turn it in. Okay, I'm just going to press that just so that we can see it from the teacher side as well. Okay, so I can go back to my class. I can see this, and I can go here and I can see all the classwork that's been assigned to me. So here we go. I can see I'm missing something in my homework folder. But I can see I've handed in something in my English work. So you can go through all of that. Okay, we're going to go back to our teacher. Just check no one's asked anything. Right, so this is our teacher view again. So we've gone through all the things we can create. We can also see in here the people. So you've got your class teacher and your students. Okay, so obviously I've only got one. You'll be able to see all your students. And on here, you can actually email them student, or if you tick the box, you can do other things. So you could remove them, but you could mute them. So if they are being particularly disruptive on your board and they're commenting all the time, you could mute them so that they're not quite so disruptive. And then unmute them after a couple of days. Okay, you could add here an LSA or an additional teacher, particularly if you're a job share. Okay, so that's the main. And in the pupil view, just so you can see, the pupil can only see their teacher and they can send them a message, but that's all they can see in theirs. Okay, and then we come on to grades. Okay, so I can see, obviously I only have one pupil, you would see all your pupils coming down here. And you can see information. So his work here, and you can see who's not handed in their work straight away. Okay, so if I click on their name, I can see what things have been turned in. So his latest one has been turned in. I'm going to come this way. So here I can view his work. So obviously he hasn't done anything. So I can, so down here I can, add comments. Sorry, I can add comments down here to give feedback down here. I can also add grades here. And once I've done all of that, I can then choose to return this piece of work. Okay, and if I'd given a grade, this would change to the grade that I'd just given it. So I could see how they've done. Okay, but it's really good because, as I say, you can click on that pupil and you can see what work they've done, what work's missing, how much you've scored them. So a really quick overview there as well. Okay, and I go back into his classwork. I don't think it's refreshed enough for me to show you that yet, I'm afraid. Yeah, it hasn't. I think because I didn't mark it, I think it's just come back. So I'd need to put in some comments for it not to still be showing there. Okay, so the last thing I'm just going to go through is if I go into Classwork, you have got the quick links to Google Calendar. So this is just your calendar, so your teaching calendar, which so mine is blue. But I've also got come up, my purple is my classroom. So I can tick that and it shows me any assignments that are due in so that I know what work I'm expecting and when. You can also set a class meet that way as well. And then your class drive folder is just in your standard Google Drive. You've got, when you do the drop down, you have got your classroom, okay? And then you can go into your classroom and see all the work you have set. So there's the work I've just set. And you'll see I can only see TIO pupil 1, okay? Pupil 1, well, I could show you that, but all they will see is the 1. If I had 30 pupils, I would see every single one with their name first and then the title of the work. Okay, so I would see every single one in a list. So I'd be able to see all of them. So there's your evidence or sort of history of your homework. You'll be able to see all of them. Okay, and they can only see, as I say, they can only see 1. Okay, that's the main of Google Classroom. Please now feel free to ask any questions, and I'm happy to cover things again or go through anything if you're not sure. So please, as I say, ask some questions. Okay, I will hang around for a few minutes. So as I say, I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Otherwise, thank you for coming. But please feel free to ask some questions. Okay. Oh. Yes, so you have a Google Meet link that you can set on your classroom. So up here you have a Google Meet link. I can't click on it, unfortunately, because it would disconnect me from the Meet that we're in. But you can, in the calendar, you can you change this to your class. You can set a meeting like this. So you can then invite a pupil or a group of pupils, and it would be to your classroom. It'd be to your classroom's meeting. So yes, you can create a Google Meet. In terms of safeguarding, if you've got more than one pupil in the meeting, we do recommend that you have webcams off for the pupils, because you don't know what's happening in the background in the pupil's house. So it's just safeguarding yourself. And on the other side of that, especially if it is just sort of one-on-one, we also recommend you, so down here on Google Meet, these 3 dots, where it says stop recording, you can record. Again, it just covers your backs. So we just recommend that you sort of do those bits just to make sure you're covering yourself, really. Okay, I'm still around if there's any other questions, but otherwise, thank you very much for listening, and I hope it's been useful for you.